Greetings, devoted viewers of Days Drama Digest, your premier source for the pulse-pounding stories unfolding on Days of Our Lives. Today, we delve into a saga that has gripped the hearts of Salem's residents and fans alike, a tale of fractured family ties, shocking betrayals, and a young boy's desperate search for truth amidst a sea of deception. At the center of this emotional maelstrom are Chad DiMera and his son, Thomas, whose once unbreakable bond now teeters on the edge of collapse. As whispers of Thomas's potential departure from Salem to Boston with his grandparents, Jack and Jennifer Devereaux, ripple through the town, we invite you to join us in dissecting this heart-rending storyline. How did a father and son, bound by love and loss, arrive at such a painful crossroads? And what does the future hold for them as secrets unravel and loyalties are tested? This article explores the dramatic conflict sparked by Thomas's discovery of Kat Green's deception, the emotional fallout that has driven a wedge between him and his father, Chad, and the looming possibility of Thomas leaving Salem forever. With rich detail and vivid storytelling, we'll paint a picture of a family in crisis, drawing you into the raw emotions and moral dilemmas that define this unforgettable chapter in Days of Our Lives. So, settle in as we unravel the layers of the story, where love, betrayal, and the quest for redemption collide in the heart of Salem. The seeds of discord, a shocking revelation. The trouble began, as it so often does in Salem, with a secret too explosive to remain buried. For years, Chad DiMera has carried the weight of unimaginable loss. The death of his beloved wife, Abigail Devereaux, left a gaping wound in his heart, one that seemed impossible to heal. Abigail, a beacon of light in the often dark world of Salem, was not only Chad's soulmate but also the devoted mother of their children, Thomas and Charlotte. Her tragic death shattered their family, leaving Chad to navigate the treacherous waters of single parenthood while grappling with his grief. Enter Kat Green, a newcomer to Salem whose charm and warmth seemed to offer Chad a glimmer of hope, a chance to rebuild his life and find love again. Their budding romance, tentative at first, blossomed into something deeper, giving Chad a reason to smile after years of sorrow. But unbeknownst to Chad, Kat carried a secret that would shake the very foundation of his world. She had once impersonated Abigail, deceiving those closest to her in a twisted scheme that only Salem's tangled web of lies could produce. The truth came crashing down like a tidal wave, not through Chad's discovery, but through the keen instincts of a young girl, Rachel Black. Rachel, ever perceptive and unafraid to speak her mind, uncovered Kat's deception and shared the devastating truth with Thomas. For Thomas, a sensitive and fiercely loyal boy who cherished his mother's memory, the revelation was nothing short of earth-shattering. To learn that the woman his father had grown close to had dared to assume his late mother's identity was a betrayal that cut deep, igniting a firestorm of anger and hurt within him. The confrontation, a son's ultimatum. The confrontation between Thomas and Chad was a moment that left viewers clutching their tissues, hearts pounding with the weight of the emotions on display. In a scene charged with raw intensity, Thomas, his young face contorted with anguish, stood before his father and demanded answers. "How could you let her into our lives?" he cried, his voice trembling with a mix of betrayal and disbelief. "She pretended to be Mom. She lied to us, and you're still with her." Chad, caught off guard by the ferocity of his son's pain, struggled to find the words to soothe him. His love for Thomas was undeniable, a father's devotion that had carried them through the darkest days after Abigail's passing. But Chad was also a man, one who had found solace in Kat's presence, a lifeline in the storm of his grief. Torn between his son's heartbreak and his own desire to move forward, Chad found himself in an impossible position. "Thomas, I didn't know," he pleaded, his voice thick with emotion. "I would never hurt you. You're my world." But Thomas, consumed by his sense of betrayal, was unrelenting. "If you love me, you'll end it with her," he declared, his words an ultimatum that hung heavy in the air. For a boy who had already lost so much, the idea of his father choosing Kat over his mother's memory was unbearable. The confrontation ended with Thomas storming out, leaving Chad alone with the weight of his son's words and the realization that their bond, once a source of strength, was now fracturing before his eyes. The fallout: a family divided. In the days that followed, the rift between Chad and Thomas deepened, casting a shadow over the DiMera mansion. Thomas, usually a bright and curious child, became withdrawn, his laughter replaced by a quiet anger that worried those around him. Chad, desperate to mend the divide, tried to reach out, but each attempt was met with cold silence or sharp retorts. The boy's pain was palpable, a wound that refused to heal as long as Kat remained in their lives. Meanwhile, Kat herself was caught in the crossfire. Her feelings for Chad were genuine, but the shadow of her past deception loomed large. She tried to explain herself to Thomas, to make him understand that her actions were born of desperation, not malice. But her words fell on deaf ears. To Thomas, Kat was an interloper, a thief who had stolen his mother's face and now threatened to steal his father's love. The tension between them was a ticking time bomb, each interaction laced with unspoken accusations and unresolved pain. As the conflict simmered, whispers began to circulate in Salem about Thomas's growing discontent. Friends and family, from Doug and Julie Williams to Maggie Horton, offered their support, but none could bridge the chasm between father and son. It was during this turbulent time that Jack and Jennifer Devereaux, Thomas's grandparents, returned to Salem. Their arrival, initially a source of comfort, soon became a catalyst for the next dramatic turn in the story. A tempting escape, the Boston option. Jack and Jennifer, who had always been a stabilizing force in Thomas's life, were heartbroken to see their grandson so distraught. As they listened to his tearful recounting of Kat's deception and Chad's refusal to end the relationship, their protective instincts kicked into high gear. Jennifer, with her warm maternal presence, wrapped Thomas in her arms, promising him that he would always have a safe place with them. Jack, ever the pragmatic journalist, saw the situation for what it was, a family on the brink of collapse. It was Jennifer who first floated the idea of Thomas leaving Salem to join them in Boston. "You could come stay with us for a while," she suggested gently, her voice filled with love. A fresh start, away from all this pain. For Thomas, the idea was both terrifying and tantalizing. Salem was his home, the place where he had grown up surrounded by memories of his mother. But it was also a place of hurt, where every corner seemed to remind him of the betrayal he felt. Boston, with its promise of distance and a new beginning, began to feel like an escape, a way to leave behind the pain of his father's choices. Chad, however, was blindsided by the suggestion. The thought of losing Thomas, his anchor in a world that had already taken so much from him, was unbearable. "You can't take him away from me," he pleaded with Jack and Jennifer, his voice cracking under the weight of his fear. But Jack, ever protective of his grandson, was resolute. "We're not taking him, Chad," he said firmly. "But if you can't put Thomas first, he needs to be somewhere he feels safe." The idea of Thomas leaving Salem sent shockwaves through the town. Friends like Sonny Kiriakis and Gabby Hernandez weighed in, some urging Chad to fight for his son, others sympathizing with Thomas's need for space. The DiMera family, known for their fierce loyalty, rallied around Chad, but even they could see the toll the conflict was taking. Stefano's portrait seemed to loom larger than ever in the DiMera mansion, a silent witness to the family's unraveling. The emotional stakes, a father's dilemma. At the heart of this storyline is Chad's impossible dilemma, the choice between his son's happiness and his own chance at love. For Chad, Kat represents a lifeline, a chance to reclaim a piece of the joy he lost with Abigail's death. Their relationship, though fraught with complications, has given him hope, a rare commodity in Salem's world of betrayal and loss. But Thomas's pain is a constant reminder of the cost of that hope. To choose Kat is to risk losing his son, not just to Boston, but to the growing resentment that threatens to consume their relationship. Chad's internal struggle is a masterclass in emotional storytelling. In quiet moments, we see him grappling with his choices, staring at old photos of Abigail and Thomas, his heart torn between the past and the future. He questions whether he's betraying Abigail's memory by loving Kat, and whether he's failing Thomas by not letting go. The weight of his grief, once a private burden, now spills into every aspect of his life, threatening to drown him in guilt and regret. Thomas, too, is caught in a storm of emotions. At his young age, he's forced to confront complex feelings of loyalty, betrayal, and loss. His anger at Kat is not just about her deception, but about what she represents, the finality of his mother's absence. To Thomas, accepting Kat feels like letting go of Abigail, a prospect that fills him with fear and sorrow. His decision to consider leaving with Jack and Jennifer is less about running away and more about protecting the memory of his mother, the one constant in his young life. The town reacts, Salem's heartbeat. As news of Thomas's potential departure spreads, Salem's residents are drawn into the drama, each offering their perspective on the unfolding crisis. Maggie Horton, the town's moral compass, urges Chad to listen to his son's heart, reminding him that love is built on trust. Thomas needs to know you're on his side, she says, her words carrying the weight of her own experiences with family strife. Meanwhile, Gabby Hernandez, never one to mince words, challenges Chad to face the consequences of his choices. You can't have it both ways, Chad, she warns. You either fight for your son or you lose him. The younger generation, too, feels the impact of the conflict. Rachel Black, whose revelation set this chain of events in motion, grapples with guilt over her role in Thomas's pain. She reaches out to him, offering a heartfelt apology, but Thomas's hurt runs too deep for easy forgiveness. Their friendship, once a source of joy, now hangs in the balance, adding another layer of heartbreak to the story. Even the Devereaux family is divided. Jennifer, torn between her love for Chad and her concern for Thomas, struggles to remain neutral. Jack, however, is unwavering in his commitment to his grandson, even if it means clashing with Chad. Their dynamic, fraught with history and unspoken tensions, adds depth to the narrative, reminding viewers of the complex ties that bind Salem's families. The road ahead, will Thomas leave Salem? As the storyline builds toward its climax, the question on every viewer's mind is whether Thomas will truly leave Salem with Jack and Jennifer. The possibility feels like a dagger to the heart of Days of Our Lives fans, who have watched Thomas grow from a toddler into a young boy with a fierce spirit and a tender heart. His departure would not only reshape Chad's life, but also alter the fabric of Salem, a town where family is both a blessing and a burden. If Chad chooses to continue his relationship with Kat, the consequences could be catastrophic. Thomas's anger, already a smoldering fire, could erupt into a full-blown rejection of his father, pushing him into the arms of his grandparents and away from the only home he's ever known. The scenes of Thomas packing his bags, his small hands clutching a photo of Abigail, are enough to bring tears to even the most stoic viewer's eyes. The image of Chad standing at the edge of the DiMera mansion's driveway, watching as his son drives away with Jack and Jennifer, is a haunting possibility that lingers in the mind. Yet there is hope, however faint, that Chad and Thomas can find a way back to each other. If Chad were to end his relationship with Kat, it might begin to mend the fracture in their bond, but at what cost? Would sacrificing his chance at love prove to Thomas that he is the priority, or would it leave Chad resentful, trapped in a cycle of grief and sacrifice? And what of Kat, whose own heart is entangled in this mess? Her redemption, if it comes, will require more than apologies. It will demand a reckoning with her past and a willingness to step aside for the sake of a father and son. The bigger picture, themes of love and loss. This storyline, like so many in Days of Our Lives, is more than a tale of family conflict. It's a meditation on love, loss, and the choices that define us. For Chad, it's a story of trying to honor the past while embracing the future, a delicate balance that tests the limits of his heart. For Thomas, it's a coming-of-age tale, one that forces him to confront the complexities of love and loyalty at an age when such burdens feel overwhelming. And for Salem, it's a reminder that no family is immune to the trials of life, no matter how strong their bonds may seem. The drama also highlights the enduring power of Abigail's memory. Though she is gone, her presence looms large, reminder of the love that once held this family together. Her absence is the undercurrent that drives every decision, every tear, every heated word exchanged between Chad and Thomas. In a town where the past is never truly past, Abigail's legacy is both a comfort and a challenge, pushing her loved ones to find a way forward without losing sight of what they've lost. Conclusion: a story unfinished. As we await the next chapters of this gripping storyline, one thing is certain: the drama between Chad and Thomas is far from over. Will Thomas board that plane to Boston, leaving Salem and his father behind? Or will Chad find a way to bridge the gap, proving to his son that their bond is stronger than any betrayal? The answers lie in the heart of Salem, where love is tested, secrets are exposed, and redemption is always just out of reach. What do you, our loyal Days Drama Digest readers, think? Will Chad choose his son over his heart, or will Thomas's departure mark a new chapter of heartache for the DiMera family? We hope you enjoyed it and look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe TV Days Drama Digest for more updates on Days of Our Lives.